would accept inclusion in the Empire on the basis of the Free State.
Do I understand, Mr. Griffith, that though everyone else refuses, you will nevertheless agree to sign?
Yes, that is so, Mr. Prime Minister.
That is not enough. If we sign, we shall sign as a delegation and stake the life of the government on our signature. Is the Irish delegation prepared to do the same?
Mágur ceist alla jeide a chur leis an idirmheachtaíocht I ddró is go ná ascroch an cogadh. Chur Lloyd George molla faoi bhráid I Griffith go muna faoi comisiún teorann chun suamhnas a chur James Craig agus na héintachtóirí. Agus nuair díar príomh aireann na Breataine an Griffith gan chur a gcuine an bhfolta thug an teachta éireannach a acal.
Mr. Griffith said, speaking in his soft voice and with his modest manner, I will give the answer of the Irish delegation at 9 tonight. But, Mr. Prime Minister, I will personally sign this agreement and recommend it to my countrymen. Do I understand, Mr. Griffith, said Lloyd George, that though everyone else refuses, you will nevertheless agree to sign? That is so, Mr. Prime Minister, replied this quiet little man of great heart and great purpose. Michael Collins rose, looking as though he were going to shoot someone, preferably himself. In all my life, I never saw so much passion and suffering in restraint.
Irama sé a yes agus véide sé an mélach ráma. Deire sé na hasa letir in scach lábleis. Chuig Sir James Craig a bhíidir a réan seolta. Láir ceann an gunra agus an síchan agus an ceann eile chogad láireach fuilteach.
Whichever letter you choose travels by special train to Holyhead and by destroyer to Belfast. The train is waiting with steam up at Euston. Mr. Shakespeare is ready. If he is to reach Sir James Craig in time, we must have your answer by 10 p.m. tonight. You can have until then, but no longer, to decide whether you will give peace or war to your country.
Everyone who heard the British Prime Minister believed beyond all reasonable doubt that this time he was not play-acting and meant all he said. I wonder if you realize the monstrous iniquity of that. The complaint is not that the alternative to signing a treaty was war. The complaint is that the alternative to our signing that particular treaty was immediate war. The position was this, that if we, every one of us, did not sign and undertake to recommend, fresh hordes of savages would be let loose upon this country to trample and torture and terrify it. And whether the Cabinet, Dáil Éireann, or the people of Ireland willed war or not, the iron heel would come down upon their heads with all the force which a last desperate effort at terrorism could impart to it.
Both Michael Collins and Arthur Griffith at this moment saw the shadow of doom clouding over that fateful paper, their own doom. Michael Collins was not appalled by the spectre of death, but he had the Irishman's fear of encountering that charge which comes so readily to the lips of the oppressed, that of having succumbed to alien will and betrayed their country. He asked for a few hours to consider, promising a reply by 9 o'clock.
The Cabinet had certainly told us that they were prepared to face a renewal of war, but a situation had now arisen which they had never visualized. Griffith had gone over to the English. In Dublin, he had declared that he would not break upon the question of the crown, and yet he was sent back as our leader. He'd been outmaneuvered, outwitted, and smashed, and he now proceeded to smash us.
Nine passed, but the Irish leaders did not return. 10, 11, and they were not yet back. We had doubt as to whether we should see them again.
You can Dáil Éireann Wales, the Hellfire Show.
Tá míid cúpla seachtain ribhanolig sa mbliain 1951 agus tá tír na héireann scrista le cogadh. cremiú ceart agus cód, dlí agus riar le gin chogan na sirse. Tá fuidach gunaíán agus fuidach fear guna, agus tá achran le réiteach. An nainneoin an tasa coga, onsíomh trúpaí sasanacha agus an RIC. Díaltas áitiúil le bheith coideacú, agus bhí a heile ag ggéar onsíthe sasanacha a spreaga. Bhí breis is 100,000 fear dí oslíthe. Thar le gadaíocht agus gábhfuil séalúchais peacú ar bhaile leis an boblocht nó le leas persanta é. Is an ggóthaigh seo thocra artó Griffith gur adón fallanthe ag Éireann. Bhí gealta aige go Lloyd George nach licach sé síosa ar bholacha misiún na teorann, agus ba chuma cad éon costas persanta a éalóch sé seo, chluíoch sé lena ocail. A dúidim risteard I bhfuil chatha ceann fórne an IRA, ba chóra é seo ar fiar visniúil.
The question arises to my mind as to whether these are not the most valiant words ever spoken in the course of Irish history. They were the words of a man who, in an unquenched gaiety of spirit, had suffered poverty and degradation and apparently fruitless labours for years, entirely devoted to the service of the uplift of the people in terms of spirit, economic well-being, social happiness, political strength. Griffith must have, by 5th of December, been fully aware of the dangers that were inherent in the inconsequential approach of persons like Stack and Brewer. And he must have been fully aware of the internal difficulties among the most important British members of the negotiating group. I cannot feel that in his most wearied, his most frustrated, his most disappointed moment, Griffith would yield to any element of despair, either personally or for the Irish people. But I feel that these words represent a supreme valour that in another might have to be called despair or recklessness.
Agus na socrthaithe London a teach go dtí an mhuaicphointe, bhí éman devaléire a líomnach ag cigireacht ar ranán iararach an Adam náisiúnta. Chaise an líche I deach Patricia Lavelle.
He was there, staying with grandfather in Strand House. And with them, amongst others, were Dick Mulcahy and my cousin, Michael Rinn, who was the equerry. There was a guard of honour of 32 volunteers, and these were also lodged in Strand House, in the huge cavernous rooms of the basement. Must have been at least 100 years since such a number had occupied those dark flagged rooms. There were great meals prepared for the whole party.
Bhí fear tí na híche sin, Stephen O'Mara, and a heachta Parliament Home Rule faoi Cheannas Parnell siar in sna 88
In the course of the evening, sitting round the fire, De Valera asked grandfather, "What did you really think of Parnell?" "I'll tell you what I thought of him," grandfather replied. "If I were crossing over Sarsfield Bridge and Parnell said to me, 'Jump into the river,' I would jump." And there they had it. The tremendous personal magnetism of a leader dead over a quarter of a century was brought before them. Upstairs, there was plenty of brisk conversation, but behind the talk, everyone's thoughts were with the delegates in London. News should come in at any time.
Bhí na tascaireachaí éireannacha a London tar éis fágand chun na macna bhíonna imachtaí na hiarmóna. Bhí ráfla I Cadogan Gardens gur á rud éigean duchreití le tarlú, rud a chur íone bhuiad fórne I choláin nós an rónaí Kathleen McKenna.
Bhí sé tar éis leithní a hocht nuair a chuala mé na cárna ag doras Gordini Cadogan. Rick Collins agus a hlua cinúnach fear, sias an holla agus ar cosanáirde suas an staire. Saravad tháinig broi de ruid a nuas an staire go dtí mifig. Dúirt sé go raibh Michael Collins Olive chun an Conradh a híú an ihe sin, agus gur cheartlam dul go dtí Hans Place, mar go raibh seans go mbeadh gálam an. Dúirt broi go dúchach sé in éanachlam. Higamar go raibh daoine ag fuileáil timpeall in san scá.
Seolú drécht leasithe de Héarmainn na Breataine chu ceann carúna an tascaireachta éireannaí a Hans Place timpeall an Lí a Chlog. Ní fada in na dhéisin nó gur tháinig Michael Collins.
Bhí mí aine ar Michael ná raibh an chuid eile ribh sa chala,